There we go. We're live.
Yay.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Maker Chat with, sorry, something's weird with the timing there. Welcome to Maker Chat with Rebellion Outpost LLC. Good afternoon, Deanna.
What's up, Clint? Thanks for having me.
No problem. It's my sister from another mister. Black peas and carrots. So, how's your holiday long weekend doing?
It's actually pretty good. Got a lot of stuff just, working right now. So the distributor for the aluminum today has delayed the cut, so I have to go there after our meeting and go pick up that stuff. So that's fun. That's the only downfall right now. So other than that, everything's moving forward.
Well, as anyone that knows you knows, your time is precious, so we'll try and keep it to the point. I should state for transparency that we did our pre-speak last night, and I have the talking points on the laptop. I'm not looking at the camera; I'm looking at you on a big TV. So anyhow, okay. So you, the first thing I want to touch on, which we spoke about last night, was you are pro. I thought about it all night and all morning today. I honestly cannot think of another female builder, someone who is actually like kicking ass, taking names, working on the machines, and uh, not conceding to doing anything the easy way. Like you want to learn, you want to build, and you take it very seriously. So,
Oh yeah, very much so. I think the easy way out is probably a joker's thought process. But that's probably just my upbringing, to be honest. So with that being said, learning everything on the fly has been a very interesting experience, to say the least. So, going from buying a manual lathe almost 2 years ago to having a CNC this last year, uh, it's been nothing faint of easy.
yeah.
That's for sure.
Where did you? What was your go-to when you started with manual machining to sort of figure out like different best practices and so on and so forth for like threading or what have you, grinding tools?
There's a couple YouTube artists or YouTubers, I guess, that I follow. One of them, we mention a lot in the Saber fabrication group that you run and stuff like that. And then there's another one. She does everything. If you ever want to learn on the fly, she's definitely someone that I suggest to even like my partner John at Diverge Path to learn because he wants to learn his own stuff. And she goes into each detail, excuse me, each detail of step to from first step to the final step and how and why it does it that way, but very blunt. It's none of this hoo-ha fluff that you get in a lot of these videos that you see. And I feel like any newcomer that wants to learn that the aspect of everything for CNC milling, whatever it may be, to go follow her page because she nails it. Really easy to follow and everything like that. Let me grab her name.
Yeah,
I
drop it
thought I
here.
had it ready, but I don't. But she's really great. I love it. And so those artists, I can't remember the other guy's name, but he's really technical and but to the point as well. You
Oh,
probably know who I'm talking
Joe
about.
Joe Piezinski.
Yeah, that guy. I can. It's a long name that I can never remember. I'm like, all right, that guy. So, what is it called? He was really good on learning how to do like the threading, boring, cutting small bits, and he does an entire series on how to cut. I believe it's a small lathe contraption or just how to do everything and how it works and everything like that. So it's pretty neat. I like it. Um, let's see. Oh man. I
If
don't
you,
think I have it ready, but yeah, I can search for it here in a second. I can multitask. It's what I'm best at.
you can always shoot me the name after, and I can drop it in the description for the video.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'll do
Yeah.
that.
So, how long have you been making?
Oh wow. Back when I was in Vegas, I started dabbling in PVC lightsabers, understanding how everything worked, looked at the forums, was reading all of that. My first impression of lightsaber building was the Arduino forums with what's his name, JFX, and he designed this module soundboard for like, it's inexpensive. It's something that anyone can do per se, and all you have to do is load up the Arduino. And it was amazing. I thought, and honestly, like that was like a deep dive into the realm of soldering again and learning the proper soundboards and everything like that. And it just went from there. So from him, which I don't know if he's actually in the community. I know Chad, I can't say that guy's last name, Manowski has
Michalski?
mentioned him once, and that's the only time I've ever seen or heard of this guy's name in the chats and Facebook. So I'm not sure if he has a real name, but he's on YouTube and he goes off and displays his like NeoPixel concepts and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, his went from that, and then I just was like, PVC is easy. Like I can manipulate PVC. Let's do this. So and I was in an apartment at the time, so very little room and space, and started designing. My first commission was to a dueler in California, and he wanted a like a knife like size, a shoto, right? So but he wanted it really small, and so he was like super ecstatic. He wanted it to be like aged and everything like that. I got the rust on it. I did everything on PVC. And a lot of people, when I do my artwork on stuff, they always think it's like real metal. And I'm like, no, this isn't. So then I was like, well, people are really wanting this. Let's look into this side of things. So it made it to where the transition was almost flawless of switching from PVC to aluminum. But then, it's kind of hard to manipulate aluminum without the proper tools, I guess.
Yeah.
But you can definitely do it with a Dremel and everything like that. It's not impossible. It's just patience.
Well, you have a level of control when you start working on machines that requires a different kind of attention, I think, too.
Oh, for sure. Your attention to detail is amplified a million, in my opinion. Because if something doesn't work, you gotta do it again or try to fix it. And if you can't fix it, you're doing it all over again. So I think that also goes into aspects of the CNC world that we've learned really quick switching to that you just basically can't fuck up. And so with that being said, it's been a trial and error process this last year, getting everything going and everything like that with no machinist experience with the CNC. So that makes it a little bit more slower to get things done. But at the same time, it makes me appreciate my builds and my runs that I'll be doing, knowing that I did this, my team, which essentially is my dad. And John. John's out the realm of design, so and with my input of yes or no on stuff. So it's a really it's time consuming. I like it though, and I appreciate everything that I've learned so far with the community, and then what people do and do not like at that as well. So
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to take a second to say hi to Papa John, Mr. Collado. Woo woo! He's in the comments.
What's up, Johnny?
One of the things that before we talk more about CNC, when I spoke, as we touched on last night, when I spoke with Johnny last week, sorry, not Johnny last week, Randy last week from Arm on Fire, he was of the opinion, and I can understand this because this is him as a profession, as a CNC machinist, sort of made a comment about formal training in order to jump into CNC, which is, for most people, I would say yes, but knowing you and your attention to detail, you kind of made that jump, you launched into it. However, with very educated support, is there any skills that you found from manual machining that have translated, or is this like a whole new world for you?
It's definitely translated. Tried and true. I'm like, you still have to set up your workpiece, like on the chuck and stuff like that. You still got to find zero, right? You got to make sure everything's not wobbly wibbly, because obviously that's going to cause issues in the programming. But then also, it just adds more things to break, in my opinion. So more things that can go wrong. Whereas with the manual lathe and mill, it's very basic in the terms of like, okay, the reason why this is not happening is because of this, and I can fix this. With the CNC, you're like, this isn't doing what it needs to do, and it's not moving at all. What's happening? Could it be a program? Could it be an issue with the machine? Is it user error at this point? Like, who knows? So let's troubleshoot and try the easiest fix possible. So, or the fastest fix, right? So it's definitely, I feel manual. I can see where Randy's coming from, where he'd rather do manual lathe and mill sabers, because it is pretty straightforward. It's easier. You can get it done like pretty quickly. Throw something up, it's gonna work. CNC, you're like, what the fuck?
Well, I expect as time goes on and you have to repeat those processes again, it'll become part of your vernacular to solve the problem. You know what I mean? You'll know where to look.
Right, exactly. That comes with anything, right? So it can be something with a vehicle, who knows, whatever it may be. So same concept applies with this. It's just still a machine. It's still something you can fix. It's not broken in its entirety. So it's just minor things. Say like threading, right? So with threading, you think you just throw that program up, call it good, and see what happens. Okay, well, sometimes that program doesn't incorporate the feeds and speeds properly, and then you're looking at it like, why does that look like a Tasmanian devil hit it? What happened? And so what happened was, it was just off by like 20 RPMs, and you're just like, bro, like that's not gonna happen. Like we can't have that. So you just wasted 10 minutes doing that. So everything in my brain is, okay, how long is this gonna take? This program takes 3 minutes per part. This is how it's going, with no fuck ups. So once a fuck up happens, we have to stop. Takes usually about an hour and a half to figure out what's going on, how we can solve it, get it back going, and everything like that. So yeah, it takes a lot of time to figure out stupid things like that. It's like, because you're just like going at the process thinking, okay, yeah, we're good, and then something happens and we're not good all of a sudden. So it's fun.
It's all good.
It really
It's
is.
all good until you're not good. Yeah. Yeah, I get you. And shout out to Jeremy Puckett, Solo Sabers. He's in the comments there. Before we finish up with the manual machining talk, what was the most difficult thing you had to, or the thing you least like to do manually?
Threading. I really don't. And that's the thing. Okay, so this is what a lot of people don't realize when it comes to that. My machine can thread. That's cool. Your machine can thread better. Why? You have that cool little stop thing. You have to just kind of wing it with mine. And I'm just like, that's not cool. So
Yeah.
if my advice to a newbie, and they're getting something and they're doing like, hey, I want to do a lathe. Cool. get either an older lathe used that's working properly, and 9 times out of 10 it's going to have that device that you have on your lathe. I can't the dial
There's
right there. Yeah,
there's a carriage stop if it's straight turning, or the thread chasing dial. Yeah.
both, either one really. Like, I just was like, screw it, I'm just going to do this on the CNC. This will work better for me. But yeah, like those little things, like even the manual was like, oh yeah, use this, and I was like, bruh, it doesn't have this. Then you contact the manufacturer, they don't even have it. So are you lying to me? Like, that's, can I not thread on this machine? You know, so it gives you this like false hope in a way, and it's like, okay, great. Just look at the details of the imagery and be like, and just be on top of things basically. Right out the gate, be like, okay, check my system. This is what's going on. I have this, I have that. I looked at the manual. We're good to go. And then be like, okay, we can start doing stuff. So it's just frustrating at that point when you're like, yeah, I'm excited, and then you can't do anything because A, you don't know anything, and B, tech support's down because you're doing stuff at night and you're just like, oh, tech support's not here. That sucks. Or tech support's, your best friends and they're asleep. So that's how I feel on that. I think everyone should be able to, or if they can't afford a lathe mill, a maker's spot is what I always suggest. Don't spend all your money on something that you may feel defeat in, because you will feel defeated multiple times before you get it right. Go to the maker spot, hang out with them. You got plenty of experienced people chilling at those places, helping one another, doing stuff. Mess up on their stuff because they get funding. You know what I mean?
Yeah, unfortunately, I had to teach myself in a vacuum. And to answer Johnny's question there, yes, if you're talking manual, you can absolutely chase a thread down and fix or thread it further. And yo, Mac McNeil in the house. So yeah, so threading on the CNC and manual, that's your least favorite beast to tackle.
Oh, on CNC, it's great now. We got that shit on lock. It's fine.
Oh,
Manual though, or CNC wise, what I don't like so far with I think this only goes by machine though, honestly, because I hear a lot of good things about Haas and everything like that. And that's the goal, is obviously have multiple Haas running at the same time to get everything going. Right now we're doing the Tormach, and the Tormach's great for what we need. And it can handle a lot. And a lot of people don't think that. And well, there's a lot of people that make their living off of Tormach. So I say otherwise. I think it's doable for what is needed. And we're not doing complex things like making car parts and everything like that. So it's nothing crazy. It's tube. Throw it up, call it good, doing the same thing over and over again. You know what I mean?
let's not kid ourselves. We're not building space shuttle parts. We're building flashlights.
Exactly. So.
Now, that being said, the same kind of discussion is had over manual machines too. And let's face it, that premium that someone will pay for a Grizzly lathe doesn't research and find out the casting, all the parts, the integral parts to that lathe or mill are Sieg, their Speedway, their Busy Bee, or I mean Craftex. They're all made in, I want to say Taiwan, but I'm not. It's not China. It's not China anyway, but it's one of the Asian countries. So anyhow, it's all in how you handle it, I guess.
Oh yeah. I just do your research is what I say when noobs come into play. Like, ask questions, find the most that you can in your local area. Even ask, some of these old guys around here in my area. I had one that I was trying to get runs done with. Great guy. He just didn't have his lathe up and running, and at the time we couldn't go with him because of that. But now we have our own, so we don't have to bother him anymore. But super informative guy, super into telling us what to get, how to do it, kind of thing. Like, you know, they're like you, Clint, like super chill. So willing to help, kind of thing. So it's not like you just can't go to those bigger shops and be like, oh, help me figure it out, because they're not going to.
Well, and the help, both manual and at one point you had a stumbling block with the CNC, and it was just a little bit of reaching out, and boom, you find someone who's using Tormach. Problem solved. You were up and running. What?
Yeah.
Within,
It was within a week after that, and it was just, you know, months of figuring out what the hell's going on, and then all of a sudden you get the answer. And it was just because I said something and I was frustrated. And it's just about who you know, at what time you know them, etc. I think so. I think that helps a lot. Just, you know, not being dicks about stuff, gatekeeping. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
it really helped, especially with what we're doing or trying to achieve, I should say.
Well, that's why it's easier and better for everybody to work together than against each other, which is why there's certain people that you don't see calling each other out in conversation in the groups or what have you.
Right.
So gatekeeping, we did discuss that last night.
Yes.
First of all, describe for us your concept of gatekeeping.
Gatekeeping is something that's simple for anyone to have. Like, say they can make a costume out of warbly foam. Anyone can do that. It's just a matter of how you go about it and how you do it, right? So in the terms of lightsabers and all that stuff, it's like, okay, say it's a tube and you cut it once and then you cut it again. You did 2 cuts. It's not copyright infringement. It's a tube and 2 cuts. Shouldn't have to explain that to somebody. Shouldn't have to be common sense. Like, it's completely different concept. It may be what it is. Now you can definitely reach out to that person, discuss if you want to change the design. By all means, if they change it, great, move on. If they don't, cool, then don't talk to them. Don't support them. Don't do ill will, though. Don't be negative about it. You know, it's like, I never want anyone to down talk somebody because of, you know, they're making something, or, you know, someone did it better. You know, there's too much of that in the world as it is, you know? So I think, you know, either support them or move on.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it, you know?
Yeah. We had spoken about supply and demand. You want to go further about that? Because I shared with you, and I think anybody watching this or that's in the comments right now know that you and I are close friends, and we've spoken for probably at least 3-ish years or more.
At least, yeah.
Yeah. And we were talking about the cost of materials, which was about 1.5 years, I think, 1.5 years ago, that the big tariff thing. I'm in Canada. You're in Idaho or Spokane or something, right?
Right.
And the cost for me to go and get X amount of aluminum, let's say, was $100. And that was before the big hike in the tariffs and all that nonsense.
Right.
And I just went and picked up some aluminum last week and got a quote for that same exact amount, and it was like $101.50 kind of thing. And I was impressed. I'm like, oh, but the only thing is, in order for me to get that exact quantity, because like the timber thing, everybody's buying up metals. So speak to that.
Yeah, I think so. You know what's crazy is I've bought. So a lot of people use online metals. Cool. That's a very easy place to get your stuff. It's super simple, straightforward. They got discounts and stuff like that. So my local areas were kind of like iffy. They didn't have enough. They couldn't get it in time. Da da da. And I knew Online Metals could get it to me on a certain day. So I bought like 20 feet of aluminum, paid almost $300. Okay. Now I asked my local distributors again. They're roughing around the same price, a little bit less. Got one dicking me around. Okay, whatever. Then I go into Spokane and I'm like, hey, I need 20 feet of aluminum. And we get it for less than $200. It's like, okay, why? Well, supply and demand. We got shortages on certain materials, but we can get materials of this in. So we get it, we buy it now, so then we can have it in stock. And that's basically everywhere. Every business is doing the same thing. They're thinking ahead now because they didn't expect this kind of shortages to transpire, causing delays. So even a lot of small business owners around me have even said to me, they're like, dude, like if I need $10,000 worth of sausages, I'm going to buy $10,000 worth of sausage because right now we have it in stock. So the same thing goes for aluminum, like, or steel, brass, copper, whatever it may be. If you don't need it right now and you're thinking about it in the future, you better get it now because it's a nice price right now. We don't know what it's going to be like in the future.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of that too throughout the year and a half that COVID's been going. It has been back and forth with pricing and delays and everything like that. Not to mention, I know FedEx is behind. I know UPS is slightly behind. We started at the post office. We started to delay mail and everything like that. And it shows because my days are even longer than they are before. So it's great.
For those watching, give us a quick rundown of all the services that you offer and give us a, if you will, update on the frozen.
So the update on Frozen is we had to get all the bugs out on the Tormach, which I want to say, yes, we are good. We have our first set of the Saber component system done, and that was our test for us to get our Frozen run done because the Frozen run is 7 processes opposed to our Saber component system. So our Saber component system is a couple processes here and there. It's like 3 or 4. So, and then not only that, the Frozen is 3 parts doing 7 processes, so 7 different movements, and then 3 to 4 clampings depending on the part. And so clampings means that we have to readjust, put it in, recalibrate, and go for those movements and stuff like that. So it's taking a minute, but it is such a gorgeous piece that I am taking my time on it. And not only that, I was getting dicked around when I was ready to launch it and have it ready to ship from the manufacturer or the CNC company. Was in California that I originally had it, and then try to get quotes from in the area to speed fast that, and it's like no. I was getting $20,000 quotes for 30 Sabers. I was getting $50,000 quotes, and it was just an asinine amount of money. So I just bought a machine and said, screw it, we're just going to do it in house because everyone's telling me they can do it. Then they see the files and they can't do it, and I'm like, no. So that's why it's taking longer. Dealing with someone learning with the CNC, trying to get it in place, but we got everything on lock now. So I am excited for that amongst everyone else that has their dibs on that. And I forgot the other part of the question. You said something else.
Oh, services. Before I answer that, I would just like to say that when this Frozen run launches, I would like to see that launch right into the face of all the naysayers.
I got
when
you.
you started mentioning CNC. We'll just leave it at that.
I feel you,
Okay, so
man.
yeah,
So services offered as installs for Golden Harvest only, and not Home Depot sabers. Okay, nothing against Home Depot sabers. I just don't deal with that anymore. You got something from Saberforge, you need it fixed, you need it installed, you need something, I got you. You got something from Ultra Sabers, by all means. You need an install with Golden Harvest, I got you. Any other saber company that actually makes sabers, I will do an install on. Right now, our commission list is closed. I only handle 10 commissions a year. In the future, that will double, just because of in the future we're trying to go full-time with just sabers, right? So that'll allow my creativity to really launch itself. So I'm excited. We also offer Cerakote or powder coat on the sabers as well, and that's a generalized pricing. It's on the website and everything like that, so it's pretty good in my opinion. Removal of powder coat, it's got to be a bear saber at this point. So we don't have the space for the chemical bucket for removing powder coat, and that's going to be the easiest way for people instead of sandblasting, because that's a lot of time and that's a lot of money to spend on something that we could easily dip. You know what I mean? And then in the future, we'll do custom runs for people, but right now we're just getting our stuff going so then we can better accommodate the community with everything.
okay. What else would you like to? Is there any other Easter eggs coming from the Rebellion Outpost that you would like to? I guess.
So I gotta look at my list because I was like, what am I saying?
Divulge. That's what I was.
So the custom runs for customers. I know a lot of people have been asking, oh, I wanted to get a run. Oh, you're gonna have to go to China. Okay, cool. We're gonna try and make that not a thing for people. Like, they don't have to go find whoever, whatever company it may be. So once we're locked down into our part system, which is the Saber component system, that's mainly for the DIYers. So like Jeremy at Moon Custom Saber, Moon Custom Armory, and stuff like that, like Starfall, like how they all make their own interpretation of their sabers by using parts and stuff like that. We'll have threaded parts for people, and especially for people that just want to throw it up on a lathe. If they got a small personal lathe, they want to do their own adjustments, by all means, just throw it up there, call it good. A lot of stuff will have switch section parts, meaning you'll be able to have a starter hole for tactile plunger concepts, kind of like Divinium's, and no, not Divinium's, in Spirit, right?
Sorok?
What's his name?
About Robert or well?
Neither.
Adrian?
Adrian. Yeah.
Inspired.
Jesus. My brain is. I'm food blacked right now, so I need food. Inspira, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Damn. Oh man, I love his stuff. But what is it called? So he uses just like a small little hole for tactile switches, and just puts a brass plunger in there and calls it good. So we have a starter hole for people. They can just go in if they want to go 12 mil. They want to do other sizes, they can do that. So it's not a lot of work that they have to do, but it's enough to where they can have their own design readily available. Something a little bit different than everyone else's, which is nice, especially when we have John behind the realm of doing some cool stuff behind the scenes over here.
Yeah. The man behind the curtain.
Yeah. I'm like, no, John, I can't do that. But I want it to. I was like, okay, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Give me a minute.
Yeah, he sure does like think about things in insane great detail.
Yeah.
So.
And yeah, part of that, it's like, John, we can't do it that way. All right, I'll tweak it. John, we can't do this. Fine, I guess I'll tweak it. It's a lot of that going on. It's pretty funny. I love it. It's a good. He and I has a good. We have a really good relation in how we both operate, and he knows how I operate really well as well. So I think finding that team is kind of crucial for when you're doing stuff and you're communicating daily and everything like that. So it doesn't cause a strain, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, is there anything you would like to say from about building or the community, or because it's basically 99% of the community. It's very male centric, I guess would be the term, or loaded in testosterone anyhow. But from your perspective, is there anything you want to say or anything like that?
It's just you see the same things over and over again with the male misogyny in the groups and stuff, and it's sad. It's like, all right, that's cool, like, but it's not, So then we need, as a female builder, it's nice to have people that have our backs, right? So like you have my back, Jeremy's got my back, John's got my back, that kind of thing. Like it's nice to be like someone standing up to the male misogyny. And unfortunately, in this day and age, it still has to be a guy to do that. And even noticing with getting stuff done for the Tormach or my business and stuff like that, it's like I still sometimes need a male presence to kind of be like, no, I need this to be done. And it's unfortunate that it's got to be that way right now. Hopefully that changes in the future, but just like I'm tired of seeing the comments, oh, raise such a this or raise that. And I'm like, who fucking cares? I just want lightsabers. I don't want people to hit each other with them. Please. Like, I want more lightsaber scenes. Like, that's what I want. How did you get that? Like, how'd you build that? Like, that's what I want.
Yeah.
You know
and
what I mean?
The funny thing is in the fabrication, fabrication group, for example, everyone goes toe to toe. There's no drama and there's none of that horseshit in the group. So, but yeah.
Oh yeah, it's pretty nice. Like Robert and stuff like that. He's like, oh, you can post your stuff. I have no qualms. Like you're good to go. Like kind of things. And if I've ever had a question, he's been able to answer stuff too. Like, hey, how'd you do that? Or just little things like, it's not like I'm trying to steal your idea, but I think I found a better way. That's all.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
something easier you can just pump out or whatever. For people, if someone, I don't, and that's the thing, like I like helping people a lot and I try to help people as much as possible. So there's a lot of things behind that for the business as well that you'll see in the future, hopefully in next year. But I can't really talk about that yet. So we got to do one step at a time, as John says. Frozen Saber component system. And then I can spill my guts for all the other goodies that we have in play. So,
well, the other thing is it's getting used to setting up and running it like daily CNC operations, but to also have a standing thing that that CNC is running, it's doing its thing, and that gives you time to go and fine tune your other projects, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So like today, like since my dad and I are off today, I can run out, get the aluminum. I can finish out some commissions. I can go out there, start cutting stuff. And he's in there already cutting parts. So it's nice to be like, and then, he'll be like, hey, does this look good? I'm like, does it fit with everything else? If it fits with everything else, then we're good. If it doesn't, there's a problem. So it is nice to have like a buddy per se to help get things fast tracked, even though he doesn't know anything about CNC. He does now. Force fed. What do you mean you don't know? You're gonna know. Like you're gonna know now about all this. So it's pretty funny to make an old dog learn a new trick kind of thing. So
Nice.
Well, because he's a gunsmith, so he's like, oh yeah, all the gunsmiths just use this, this, and this, and I'm like, okay. So then I buy a CNC, and he's like, shit, I didn't think you were serious. And I'm like, 1000%, let's go.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Okay. Well, any closing thoughts on?
no, I just think everyone should have fun building what they love, honestly. And, you know, that's from an artist perspective too. So like I do a lot of artistic things, and this is just another art form in my opinion. So do what you love, do how you want to do it. If you have questions, always ask. Don't hesitate. Every stupid answer is something that someone else can learn. So I'm not going to say it's not a stupid answer, because sometimes I'm like, really? But
Post pictures of your wiring.
yeah. Oh God. I was like, it's a little cloudy there, my guy. Fix it. What do you mean? I've already told you. Fix it. So that's all. Like, have fun. Do what you love. Fuck everybody. That's what I say.
Absolutely. 100%. Well, this has been a very, very good chat as always. I want to say thanks for coming on.
Anytime.
And I know you, it's your day off, which is hard to come by for you. So, and you have to pick up aluminum.
Yeah. It's good times.
So
It'll be a fun drive. It's 45 minutes. Sightseeing, right? Like,
oh, ooh, yeah, 45 minutes here, but I'd be like in 3-4 towns away. So
I'm used to it. Vegas was like that. 45 minutes this way, 45 minutes that way. I'm like, oh, I just visited the entire city. That's great.
Nice. Okay, well, again, thank you for coming on.
No
And
problem.
you have a good afternoon.
You as well.
And may the force be with you.
May the force be with you.